house on tonight. Super excited. You have reached Mindset to Millions. Oh my goodness. I live to tell the story. I am so excited on tonight. Super excited about my guest that I'll be bringing in a moment, but wanted to just come in first to greet my listeners out there. You're all over the place, and we're so glad to have you. As I always say every week, I give you a little spiel. My goal is to empower, to drop some knowledge, of course, and to share some tools. And my guests, we're going to keep you informed. My guests, along with myself, we're going to be smiling. And yes, we're going to be having a great time while we're growing, developing, and changing to be our very best self. So I want you to sit back, relax, get you something cold to drink, or maybe something warm, depending on where you are in the world. We know we're all over the place, Mega Source Entertainment. But tonight I have someone so special who has something good to share with us. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Are you all ready? That's what I really want to know. Are you ready to hear what it is that will be said on tonight that will definitely bless you? If you're ready, just jump in. Remember, you can have questions, any questions that you may have for our guests. You can put those in the chat, and she's going to be ready to answer those for you. So without further ado, I want to introduce Dr. Andrea L Hines. Yes, yes, yes. We are clapping it up in the chat for her. We want to welcome her. I want to tell you a little bit about her. And then, of course, I'm going to give her an opportunity to introduce herself. But Dr. Andrea L Hines, she is a speaker, a teacher, a radio personality, and a certified life coach. And she has something to share with us on tonight. As I've gotten to know her, and I was on her show a couple of weeks ago, I know that this woman of God have massive things that she want to share with you on tonight. And, her topic is when life speak, you speak life. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, just the topic itself. I'm already blessed. I got my notepad over here. I'm ready to take some notes and everything that she had to say. So fasten your seatbelts and get ready to do the same. But after becoming a certified life coach, she opened CLASS, is coaching and consulting. She worked with clients to cultivate lives and success strategies. Let me say it again, real loud for the people in the back. Class, coaching and consulting. She works with clients to cultivate lives and success strategies by offering one-on-one coaching and delivering her signature workshop upload. It's all about the selfies. She talks about that, and she's going to go in detail tonight more about what that means, but removing roadblocks, just helping you get clarity. And she do so many things. She has a whole program, When Life Speak, You Speak Life, and she's going to talk about what that means. She's co-authored books. She's been on forums. I mean, she's a speaker. She's a woman of God. She's even an actress. She's performed in the arts. Must I go on and on? She's been involved in our local news and featured in the local newspaper. Just so many great things. She is just a mighty, powerful woman of God. And I can go on and on, but Dr. Andrea, come on to the stage and share a little bit about yourself, something maybe I didn't share that most people would not even know.
Well, first of all, Dr. Tammie, thank you for allowing me to be with you tonight. I tell you, we had such a grand time a couple of weeks ago, and we just sort of connected. And it doesn't happen all the time, but every now and then you will meet someone and you just have this amazing connection. And that's what happened with us. So I'm very, very happy to be here. Just honored to be on your program tonight. I am originally from Washington, D.C., and it took me a long time to call North Carolina home. people would say, "Where are you from?" And I'll say, "Washington," but I'm living in Raleigh, North Carolina. So I have finally gotten to the place where I said, "No, I'm actually from Raleigh now." And I moved here all by myself I had no family. I had never been here before. I had never been in the state of North Carolina. I had visited Livingstone College at one time, but never thought about moving here and living here. And I tell you what, when you follow the plan that God has laid out for you, there is nothing that you can't do. There is nothing that you won't be able to accomplish. He lays it all out, and that's exactly what he did for me and with me. My writing style changed. The things that I brought forth became very much in rhythm and rhyme. My prayers are even that way. So he and I have a wonderful time. I have a great relationship. He is the author, and I always tell people he allows me to be his pen. And for that, I am very, very grateful. So anything that I share tonight, particularly if it is in poetic form, trust me, he is the author.
Oh, awesome. 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 So you see what I mean? There is so much that we can learn from Dr. Andrea. And on tonight, my whole plan and roadmap with this radio platform is mindset to millions. You got to shift your mindset. You got to think a different way. It's one thing to accumulate wealth, but if your mindset is not set, if you're not speaking the right things, then you can lose it all in just a drop of a hat. So I'm just so excited. And we have people that are joining on with us on tonight, Dr. Andrea. So we welcome them. We welcome them. Thank you so much for joining in with us on tonight. And I'll call some of them out in a moment. But I want to get started with you. Woman of God, tell us. We know what our theme and our topic is tonight. We know that we're talking about when life speak, you speak life. When you say that, that's a theme of your life. What does it mean when you say when life speak, you speak life? And tell us, where did you get that from?
Well, when I got into broadcasting, when I was asked to do a show, one of the things that I wanted to know or had to figure out was what was the show going to be called? What was the format going to be? How was all of it going to be laid out? And I wish I could say that I came up with this wonderful title where I was sitting somewhere being deep and profound, but actually, God gave it to me. He just simply said, when life speaks, you speak life. Life is speaking all the time. And if life is speaking all the time through the tests, through the trials, through the triumphs, through the things that happen with us, then I believe God is speaking as well. And whenever he is speaking, I need to pay attention. I need to listen carefully. I need to be at a place where I can. One of the things we say on When Life Speaks is turn down the volume of life and be ready to receive so that when life speaks, you can speak life. One of the things that I always tell people is the most influential conversation I will ever have is the one that I have with myself. Because people can tell you whatever they want to tell you, good, bad, or indifferent. But if you don't believe it, if you don't take it in, if you're not able to put it back out into the atmosphere, then you've lost the power that those words and those things have given you. So when I see your program and your title, Mindset to Millions, it really resonated with me because we have to have the right mindset. Our thoughts have to be in the right place. I wrote it down because I always forget it, but I think it was Lao Tzu. I'm probably pronouncing his name wrong, but he's the one that said, watch your thoughts because your thoughts become words and your words become actions. Your actions become habits. Your habits become character, and then your character becomes your destiny. So I have to be careful about what I'm thinking, and I have to be careful about what I am allowing people to say to me, what I am receiving from them, because all of that affects what I'm thinking. And when it affects what I'm thinking, then it's going to affect what I'm saying. What am I putting out in the atmosphere? What am I saying to me about me? And that's the thing that's so important. I have a program, 8 at 8, that I come on in the morning, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for 8 minutes. I try to stay at 8 minutes, but it's at 8 a.m. And one of the things that I do is read a victory verse, which is just a writing of poetry. But at the end, he gives us a positive point of power. And it's just a sentence, or it's a phrase, or it is something that you can hold on to for the day, for that day, for the next day, for whenever you need to pull it up, so that you can tap into the power that is within. God has put in us everything that we're ever going to need for what He has called us to do. And I have to know and understand that what He has given me is for me. It is not for you. It is not for your listeners. But I've got to be able to tune into that, let it resonate with me, believe it, and trust it, and be able to speak it. Because that's when it becomes action. That's when things begin to turn around. So I like to think that when people join me on Thursday night, it's 45 minutes to just sit still if you can. Get to a place where you can be still long enough. Turn down the volume of life. We have so much going on. We have so much going through our head all the time. We have so much in our minds that we need to declutter, that we need to just kind of put aside for a minute and say, okay, I'm going to stay right here and I'm just going to listen. I'm going to allow myself to be fed for just a little bit. And what I hear and the way that I hear it can often change the trajectory of what I'm doing, where I'm going, and seeing things that God wants me to see in a different way.
Wow. Wow. You have said a lot, and I know it is blessing all of our listeners. And I'm going to just take a moment and say hello to a few of our listeners on tonight. So many have jumped into chat already. Goodness, I hope I don't miss anyone. I see Victoria. Looks like Nikia. I hope I'm not pronouncing your name wrong. Thank you so much for joining us. Katessa, good to see you. Coach Rich, who is our fearless leader, he's jumped in. Yvette from the DMV, she says, Happy Monday. She is so glad to be here with us. Francina, of course, Ronnie's always in the building, seem like. So just so excited. And others, Angela O is in. And I'm going to call you, I promise you. I can't see everyone in my app right now, but I wanted to take a moment and welcome those who are with us. Dr. Andrea L Hines, she's dropping knowledge, y'all. You better get your pens, your notepad. I got my notepad right here. I'm taking notes on my phone as she's sharing, but we know our theme tonight is when life speaks. Okay, we know what happens. Life will speak. But then you got to speak back, you got to speak. When life speak, you speak life. And so, Dr. Andrea, you said something that was so key, what you are saying to yourself. You said that was more important than what people think, what people say, what people do, what you are saying to yourself. So share with us a little bit in the importance of why what you say to yourself in the long term, it can cause you to be successful, or it could possibly cause you not to be successful, depending on what you are saying to yourself.
Mm-hmm. We all have the opportunity um, to listen intently, I'll put it that way, uh, to the circle that's around us. And we are influenced a lot by the circle that's around us. There's no doubt about that. But if I don't have a belief system, and as you say, a mindset that keeps me on a positive path and a path of purpose. We talk about it all the time. I can be my own best friend, or I can be my own worst enemy. And which way I go is depending upon the choice I make in terms of what I will believe and what I will then put out there, how I will go about it. When I open the show, I always say life speaks. It speaks through struggles and success, through music, through messages, through the preconceived, through the unexpected. There's always something going on around us. There's always something going on around us. But when I don't take the half full approach as opposed to the half empty approach, then my self talk is different. And when my self talk is different, my self image is different. My self image is different, then my actions are going to be different. We look at people who are successful, and a lot of times it is not because of this is just my belief. It's not because of the knowledge that they have all the time. It's not always because of their expertise. It's because they're willing to push and they're willing to try and they're not afraid of defeat. And they're not afraid that, okay, what if it doesn't work? What if it doesn't work? That doesn't mean life is over. It doesn't mean that everything has ended. It just means it's taken a different path. But if I don't believe that, and if I don't believe that about myself, if I don't believe I'm strong enough, I will stop myself. I won't allow myself to go forward. It won't be what anybody else has done to me. It won't be because anybody else has stopped me. I've stopped myself. And that's why, when I talk about the selfies, that's one of the things that happens. We get into self-sabotage.
Come on now.
If I don't have the right self-image, and if I don't have the right self-talk, and if I am not able to remove those things that I put in my own way, then it's over. I ended it. Nobody else ended it. It's not because I didn't have the resources. It's not because the people weren't there. Do those things play a role? Absolutely, they do. Absolutely, they do. But the greater impact is the one that I create. And that's by the choice that I make.
I'm hearing you say at the end of the day, life and death is in the power of our words, in the power of our tongue. Life and death as it relates to, are we going to be successful or we're not going to be successful? Whether we're going to self-sabotage or whether we're going to see the glass half full versus half empty. What about that person that says, I've just always been like this. I hear you, Dr. Andrea, that sounds cute, but I came from a family and a generation of people that are just realists. We speak reality. We talk about what we see. How can we help transform that mindset right there that this is what we've always done?
The question becomes, do you want to do anything different? Do you want to have anything different? Do you want to be anything different? And if you answer yes to any of those, then something has to change. Something has to shift. Something has to be different. And that is why the self-talk becomes so important. You'd be surprised at how your mindset will change based on what you hear, based on what you're saying. If I get up every morning and I changed, I stopped saying that I've got to get up and face the day. When you say I'm gonna wake up and I gotta face Monday, I gotta face Tuesday. I get up now and say I'm gonna greet the day. I'm
Ah.
not going to face it. I'm going to greet it.
Mm.
I'm going to greet it because I know that there's something. If I woke up, there's purpose for me somewhere. If I woke up, there's an assignment. There's something that he wants me to do. It may be on my way to work. It may be in the Walmart. It may be at Dunkin' Donuts. It could be anywhere. But wherever I am,
Mm.
there is an assignment. I have to believe in me enough to know that if God made me, he made me for purpose. And if he made me for purpose, then he made me for impact. And if he
Mm.
made me for impact, then it's going to be for my good and for his glory.
Mm.
I've got to want to make the change. I've got to want to see. I see the generational curses that we talk about all the time. We don't talk about the generational blessings.
Mm.
They're there, but we don't feed that to ourselves. We don't go back and look at that. We don't go back and say, you know what? It stops here. It stops with me. You know, I was not always a person, believe it or not. I was not always a person who would talk to anybody. I was a heads down, go where you gotta go, get there. You don't bother anybody, they won't bother you. Simple, simple. And when I got into the church I was in, and they made me a greeter at the door, people would come in. They say, "Oh, this is. I know you've been just doing this all your life, and this is your calling." And this, and I would be standing there going, "You have no idea. You have no idea. God will put in you what you need to have to do what He is calling you to do."
Mm.
He
I love
shifted
it.
how I felt about that. He
Mm-hmm.
shifted how I felt about meeting new people. He shifted that because he had this in mind. I
Mm-hmm.
did. I didn't see it. I wasn't looking for it, but
Mm-hmm.
he knew exactly what he wanted me to do. And he knew how he wanted me to get it done. If
Mm.
I am open to the will of God and I am open to the word of God, then I am open to the plans of God.
Mm.
I am
Wow.
open to the plans of God,
Wow.
then I know that I can make the shift, I can make the change, I can be the blessing
Mm.
that I want to see, I can be the change that I want to see. But I've got to be open to those things.
And you know, a key thing that you said that I think led it all to such a pivotal point. Do you want to do anything different? And how we do anything is how we do everything. Do we want to do something different? And what tools are we willing to put in place? What perspectives? Well, this show, for those who are with us, and we have others that are still joining. Good to see so many people that are jumping in. Katessa said hello, purpose and impact. Victoria says amen and amen. Ronnie said this is powerful. Layetta says, Amen. So people are getting what it is that you're saying. And one of the things I want to add to it, Dr. Andrea, and I know you would agree with this, what are you listening to? Who are you listening to?
Oh,
The
yeah.
fact that they join in on Mindset to Millions to hear you talk about when life speaks, you speak life. That's a great start. Who's in your circle? Do you have people who are calling you up? Do you have people that are saying, oh, you don't have to do it anymore. You don't have to think bigger. You don't have to grow and stretch. You don't have to grow, develop, and change. Or do you have people like Dr. Andrea, who's a coach, and I'm a coach, and I know Dr. Rich, he's a coach. So many coaches around who are wanting to push you to your next level. It matters who's speaking to you, it matters who you're listening to, and it matters what you say. Dr. Andrea, tell us a time about your life, a time in your life, a personal experience where the power of words had a profound impact on your life, a crossroad, something you had to walk through that maybe would have been even more overwhelming or challenging if you didn't have this mindset to speak back to life.
I think probably moving here, probably relocation, because I didn't realize I lost a lot when I moved here. And I lost a lot in terms of relationships. Um, there are a lot of times that you think that people who are your friends uh, are not really your friends for a lifetime.
Mm.
And it's difficult sometimes to understand uh, the season, the season piece. You know, I've been with you, I've known you since high school. I've had, I knew you before Christ, I've known you since Christ, so you're my girl. This is my guy. You're gonna be in my corner, you're gonna be with me. But people don't always want you to change. They don't always see even the things that you don't see.
Dr. Andrea, hold up, wait a minute. I need for you to say that again. You said, did I hear you right? Did the people in the back hear you right? That people don't always want you to change, even for the better?
Right. I hate to say it, I hate to think it, but it's true. It's true. We, as unique individuals, we have our own path. We have our own path. And that's something else I had to come to understand. And it was very freeing for me was the verse that says, I am fearfully and wonderfully made, and marvelous are his works. Mm. I don't have to sacrifice me so that you can be what you want to be and who you want to be. If that's happening, then that's something I need to be strong enough to walk away from. Mm. And when you've known people for a long time, and you think you got that thing going, and you find that it is not there, that can be painful, it can be hurtful. And sometimes we don't recover from it easily. But that is when, like you said, we have to be careful of what we listen to. Come on. Who we listen to, and be able to understand ourselves well enough to know what we need. You've got to know. Dr. Tammie, you've got to know what you need. You've got to know what works for you and what doesn't work for you. You've got to know when something is toxic and when it is positive. You've got to know and be strong enough to shift, to change, to move, to do whatever it is God is showing you to do so that you are aligned with his purpose, with his plan. Not the friendly girl, I got you. Girl, we're gonna hang, we're gonna go, we're gonna do this. It does, and it was painful. The people that I lost, it was a painful thing to have happen. But as I lost them, I gained in my relationship with him.
Woo, I knew you was gonna say that. And you found you. You probably found you, the new, improved, brand new you.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Wow. You said something so key that I just want to repeat again because it's worth repeating because I'm in a season in my own personal life where I'm seeing, how can I say, I'm seeing the idea of what I think I should be doing or saying or how I should be moving. Everybody's not in agreement with that. But you said, I took the note down. You don't have to sacrifice you. You don't have to sacrifice you for the friendships, for the people that are around, for the relationships, dimming your lights, shrinking back,
Right.
being afraid to be your most authentic self. One of the things that I know for sure, even in my own coaching programs, and I know you've seen it, I understand without a doubt the reason why most people don't excel is because of the circle that they're in. They don't want to shine too bright. You know, I just shared recently, I was ministering in New Orleans this past Sunday, and I said, when people start telling you when you're doing good things, now I'm not saying you're being negative and you're being reckless or careless, but you're doing great things. You're impacting nations, you're impacting people, and people start saying, like, you're doing too much or you're extra, or it don't take all that. That's the language of the poor.
Mm-hmm.
That's the language of the poor. You know, and I know people who are busy are the people that are doing something. The people that think you're Dr. Andrea, you're doing 8 at 8. You're doing your Thursday nights. You're speaking here. You're coaching programs, and you should be retired by now. You know, why are you doing it? That's the language of the poor. And some people call it the crab mentality, but I go deeper than that. And I call it a generational mindset that don't understand generational blessings. And I was so glad you said that. And Contessa said in the chat as well. She loved what you said. Generational blessings. She said, start with me. Yes, Victoria says, woo, this is truth right here. Everybody's just clapping it up. Paula says, yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. Angela says, amen to that. So this is resonating with people. This is resonating. It's certainly resonating with my soul. One of the thoughts that I have when I listen to you, and I've talked with you in the past as well, the language that you use, your articulation, your words, and you even speak in a rhyme and as a storyteller. What would you say to someone that says, I have these people around me. And Dr. Andrea, I understand how you were able to move to a new city and you lost some people along the way and you transformed and you grew, developed, and changed into the person that God wanted you to be. But what if I still got these negative Nancy's all around me? When I'm speaking life, they're speaking death. When I'm saying we can go and conquer, like Joshua said, they're saying, no, there's lion, tigers, and bears there. Don't go. Don't go. And these can be family members. These can be children. These can be spouses. These can be besties that are not going anywhere. They almost won't let you put them out of their life. What do you say to the person that says, I can't really control my atmosphere? Do you agree that they can't control their atmosphere? What do you say?
I think you can. I think you can. And here's why I say that. First of all, I got to know why I do what I do. And I have to know who I'm doing it for. If I set out to do a thing that is a God thing and not a good thing, it's not going to keep me. You are not going to keep me from doing the God thing because it is intentional. It is going to be a power move in my life because I am doing what the master and the creator has called me to do and wants me to do. And I find that if I am following his path, if I am truly following his path, those who cannot be a part and are not a part of the new blueprint will separate themselves.
Woo! The new blueprint.
The new blueprint.
Did I hear you say the new blueprint?
The new blueprint. Yes, ma'am.
They would separate
They
themselves.
will separate themselves. If I remain consistent
My God.
Because if they don't like the way that I'm going and they can't keep up with what God is doing, and they don't want to be a part of the too much that they perceive me to be doing, if they can't sway me, they're going to move themselves. They will remove themselves. But I have to remain consistent. I can't be over here one day and over here the next day. I've got to know, I got to believe, I got to trust. I got to, today, his positive point of power today was, I am anxious for nothing. I'm anxious for nothing. Yeah, it gets tough. It gets hard. The storms will come. It is not going to be smooth. But if I know that I am not alone, when I know that there is a power within me that I can tap into because he placed it there so that I would be equipped, so that I would be empowered, so I would have everything that I need. Why am I anxious? Why is there any anxiety? Why am I wondering? No, when I get up, I am very, very clear that I can look at the face of adversity and say, not today.
Not today.
Not today. We're not doing that today. We're not
Oh
going to
my
have it.
goodness.
And it takes time. I don't want anybody to think you just wake up one day and say, okay, I'm going to do this, travel this road, and it's going to be all right. No, it's a process.
Wow.
It's a process. It doesn't always happen overnight. And you will shed some tears.
Yes, ma'am.
And you will lose some things. But when you know that you are in the path of the master, when you know that what you are doing is because the creator said so, when you can look back over your life and say, I didn't get it then, but I sure get it now. Yeah, you're going to be all right.
Woo! We gonna be all right. In Ty Tribbett's voice, we gonna be all right. I love this. I love this. People are eating this up. Paula says, woo, they will separate themselves. Lord.
Yeah.
Now that was a mic drop. That was a mic drop. Ronnie says, I'm loving this conversation. Yes, Lord. Yes, hallelujah. Oh my goodness, people are just jumping in. I was at a conference this past weekend, and Dr. Pastor John Hanna said something so powerful and so profound, and I never thought about it this way. And I know somebody will be able to get something out of this. He said every Mother's Day, when his mother died, he said right before Mother's Day, he would tell himself, Mother's Day is coming up, and I know I'm going to be sad. He said he will speak to himself, Mother's Day is coming up and it's going to be hard. So literally, he was confessing over himself that he was going to be sad, he was going to be depressed, he was going to be longing for his mom. So he prepped his mind, his thoughts, his will, his emotions by speaking this, and even people around him was prompting him, you better get ready because Mother's Day is going to be the hardest. Her birthday is going to be the hardest. Christmas and Thanksgiving is going to be the hardest. He said, and God gave him a revelation one day. And the revelation was basically what you're saying. You have to decide what you're going to say about your situation, who you're going to allow around you to speak about your situation. He had to put boundaries in place in his mind and how he was going to see Mother's Day. And when he began to shift how he thought it, how he saw it, and what he allowed people to say to him, he said he started celebrating his mother every Mother's Day. He started thinking about the memories that he had with his mom every Mother's Day, birthdays, holidays, and it shifted. It changed. It was a shift of a trajectory for him. And that's basically what you're saying. The same thing here. You get to decide, right?
Right. That's one of the greatest gifts you're given is your power to choose. You have the power to choose. And when you
You.
do, you will, when you activate that, who were those cartoon people? The Power Rangers? Activate. Don't activate.
Ah, activate. Come on, woman of God.
Activate that power.
Woo.
That's when things change. That's
Mm.
when things are different, different. I want to share something with you if we have time. If we may, we got a minute or two.
Yes, yes, we do. We do.
Okay. I wanted to let's see if I can find it real quick. I pulled it out because I did want to share it with you. Um, and it has to do um, with the selfies. It has to do
Mhm.
with the word says, "Let a man examine himself."
Ooh.
When we go through a period of self examination, we will also go through a period of self discovery.
Mm.
And when we do that, we will end up at a place of self development.
Ooh,
So
that's
we
good.
can change some things. We can do some things differently. But just for a minute, I want to talk about that. I'll talk about that mirror.
Mm.
What do we say to ourselves about ourselves? What do we see? What is our self image? And it goes like this. It says, when I look in the mirror, what do I see? What has been formed in the reflection called me? Can anyone see all the hurt and the pain? Can anyone see all the scars I've obtained? Can anyone see the years of mistrust, the hatred, the jealousy, the envy, the lust? Have I managed somehow to put on a show so that others who are watching the mirror won't know it's all just a front, a
Mm.
charade, just a game that's been played with precision, disguising the shame? Life and death are in the words I speak to others every day. But when I'm talking about myself, what kinds of things do I say? Am I speaking words of life in my own affirmation, or are doom and gloom the subjects of my self conversation? If I really believe I can have what I speak, and a more fulfilled life is exactly what I seek, if I have the power to control my unbelief, then tell me why my spoken words are nothing but defeat. I'm
Mm.
going to stop right there.
Ooh, that is heavy duty. That is heavy duty. Coach Rich, our fearless leader and owner of Mega Source Entertainers, said, thought church was yesterday. She is preaching today, and he love it. Contessa says, not today. I'm in the oath, in the path of the master. Yes, yes. Oh my goodness. And people are agreeing with Coach Rich. Ronnie says, I'm with you, Rich. Live. That was my thought as well. We thought church was yesterday, but it is the day. Yes, Contessa said the path of the master. Daryl says life and death is in the power of the tongue. People are hearing you. Victoria said, activate. Come on, Holy Spirit, activate. Ronnie says we were all given gifts by God. Activate yours. And even that poem that you just shared, the mirror, and you've been talking about the selfies, self-examining. It is time. It is so time. And I tell you, as you were sharing, tears was coming in my eyes of just joy and resonating. What you're saying is resonating with me. It is time for us to take off the imposter syndrome. It is time for us to take off the mask. It is time for us to be our most real, authentic self. And I even shared a post about that today. And thank you so much, Dr. Andrea, for sharing that, because I think a lot of times, who are we? Who are we pretending to be for who? I tell my coaching students all the time, you're so worried about what people think about you. And the truth is, ain't nobody think about you like that. People are trying to raise their children, earn money, take care of ailing parents, pay out debt, and you around here walking around with this imposter syndrome, not being the true you, not being your most authentic self, because you thinking about what are they thinking about you, and they are not thinking about you like that. And Michael Jackson said, we got to look at the man in the mirror.
That's right. That's right. That's right. And I recently actually just released a very small book, and it's called Masters of the Mask, because that's what we've done. You know, we wear many hats, and there's nothing wrong with wearing many hats. But when you put on a mask, it's not as easy to remove. And the mask is something that you hide behind. The hats you wear, you take off easily. You know, I'm at the PTA, I'm at work, I'm this, I'm that. But when you got that mask and you get it on so tightly that you are now hiding behind it, then you forget who you are and you forget what your purpose is. So there is life is speaking.
Wow.
Life is speaking. Just don't ever forget, even in silence, even in the silence, he is still speaking. He is yet speaking. And if we have ears to hear, we will be able to take the leading of the Lord, and we will be able to do whatever it is he wants us to do without fear, without doubt, and without thinking that we are in it alone. That's something you said in the very beginning. We're not in it alone. We are not in it alone. As long as he is with us, and he said he would never leave us.
Never leave us.
Never leave us. Here for purpose. Here for purpose. Don't compete. I heard a wise man say one time, don't compete, don't compare, and don't complain.
Woo! Say that again.
Don't compete, don't compare, and don't complain.
Oof.
Yep.
I love this. I love this. I love this. People say your poem was beautiful. People are enjoying that poem and just all that you're sharing. You know, my mind is racing in a good way all over the place because I have people like yourself that come on the platform that just stir up something in me. And I know other people are being stirred as well. We have over 400,000 listeners, and I know people are being stirred up on tonight. You know, we talk a lot about ourselves and how to reframe our thinking and our words. And we know that affirmations, I am affirmations, are good ways to start out in reframing how you see yourself. We know reading books and YouTubes and connecting with the right people. But I want to go a little bit deeper. And the deepness that I want to go into on tonight is there are people who need healing and comfort. I run into them every day as a pastor, as a business owner, as a coach, a former therapist. I run into people every day who have challenges and circumstances and situations. And the words that I speak over my life, they're pretty consistent. I have I am statements and I know who I am and I walk in that. But Dr. Andrea, how can we move beyond ourselves and help heal and bring comfort to others who are struggling and hurting with our words?
I think there are two things that are very important that are often missing. Number one, I think we need to learn to listen. People tell us a lot, but sometimes we need to listen to what they don't say. And the second half of that is in building relationship. And they don't always have to be deep. They don't always have to be long lasting. But you need to have enough. I need to have If I want to help you, I need to have enough of a relationship with you so that I can hear what you don't say, so that I give you the opportunity to say what you need to say, because then you're open to hearing what I can say that may be of help to you. I don't think it's as hard as we make it sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But how many times do you walk past someone? Do you say to somebody, I remember a day at church and I watched a young woman sitting in a chair and she just looked lost. She looked so lost. And I started towards her and somebody said, Elder Hines, can you come over here? I need you to do this for a minute. And I got distracted. And then I turned around. She was still there. I started to go back. Elder Hines, there's somebody who needs this from you. And it was just a pull, 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 pull. And then last time I turned around, she wasn't there anymore. And sometimes we get so hung up in the doing of things that we forget to do the things that we really need to do and pay attention to. So I think that sometimes it is just as simple as having a listening ear.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes people don't want you to try to fix anything. They just want you to hear them out. They just want to be able to share their heart unapologetically and judgment free.
Wow.
That's all they want.
Wow.
It's all they
Mm-hmm.
want. And if we
Mm-hmm.
can provide that, then it's
Mm-hmm.
easy to provide the rest. You know, and you know, in coaching, if I can't coach you if you don't trust me, I can't coach you
Mm-hmm.
if you are in a space where you are so beaten down, or I have said something, because it's not always what we say. Sometimes it's the tone at which we say it.
Yes,
You
how
know,
we say it.
it makes all the difference in the world. If we
Mm-hmm.
have shut those things down and closed those fences, we
Mm-hmm.
don't get the opportunity to do what it is he's really asked us to do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And
this
that's the
is
thing we
good.
have to follow. That's the
Mm-hmm.
piece we have to follow. I
Mm-hmm.
I will always say, Father, what what's on your what's in your agenda? What's on your agenda? What do you want me to
Mm-hmm.
do here? And when
Mm-hmm.
I have relationship with him, those answers come very quickly. I don't have
Mm-hmm.
to labor for those answers. He will speak quickly. And you will know
Mm-hmm.
exactly what to say. You'll know exactly how to say it. You will know exactly how to
Mm-hmm.
help, because what works for Dr. Tammie today is not going to
Mm-hmm.
work for Victoria tomorrow. It's
Mm-hmm.
not going to work for the other gentleman the day
Mm-hmm.
after that.
Right.
It's
Right.
not. It's not.
Mm. And I
But we,
hear, yes, I'm sorry.
no, I was just saying, but we can if we listen, if we
Mm.
hear.
Yes. And I'm hearing you also say very clearly, we have to be willing to, if we're going to help heal, if we're going to help the struggling, if we're going to stand in the gap for people, instead of talking so much, instead of always willing to give advice, being a good listener,
Yes.
building relationships. You know, the worst thing I think people can do is come into someone's space and hear a snippet and they run with it. They give all this advice and they don't have any relationship. You have to take time to build relationship with people when you can, to even have the right to speak into their lives. So I
Exactly.
love that. I love that, building relationships, being a good listener, not feeling like you got to solve their problems, but they have to trust you enough to even be able to hear some implementation that you think might work best after you have heard them. Is that right?
Right. Yes. Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we've got to make that okay. One of the things that that my mentor talked to me about in going through coaching was that sometimes you have to be able to separate yourself from the outcome. And
Mm.
I think that's very true. And my daughter asked me something. I had developed a group called Hope. I had the Hope Enterprise Project, helping
Mm-hmm.
outstanding people excel. Because I believe that we are not void of ideas. We've got great ideas. We have got great creativity. We lack in follow through. We don't follow through. We'll start something, but then we won't follow through. And my daughter asked me one day, as I was talking about a project that we had, and she said, "Is that what you want for them, or is that what they want for them?"
Whew.
I cannot push you into your purpose, and I cannot drag you into your destiny.
Oh,
I can't.
lady,
I cannot
lady, lady.
of those
Whew.
things.
That
You've
is good.
got to want it.
Mm,
You've got to know what you want.
mm,
And I can help you get there, but it's my decision whether I help you get there. But I can't impose what
mm,
I want for you
mm.
in
Wow.
order for you to get where I want you to go. This is
Mm.
not about what I want. It's about what you want.
It's about what you want. So many nuggets have dropped here. It's already almost time to end the show, and I got 100 more questions. Oh my goodness, this is so good. People are still jumping on. Good evening, music. People are still jumping on. Oh my goodness, people are really enjoying what you have to say. I guess in our closing, I want you to, before you give your last thoughts and your last words, share with us. I know you talked about your Thursday show. You have 8 at 8. What do you have going on? You just put together a book that you are about to release. Tell us what's going on in Dr. Andrea's world that the listeners can connect to you to become a part of that, or to order your books, or to get you on their platform. How do they even reach out to you?
Everything that you ever wanted to know about Andrea L Hines is in one place, AndreaLHines.com. And if you go there, it has the link to the broadcasts on ALH Broadcasting. It has the books that I have written. It has information on there if you want to be a guest, or if you have any questions or speaking engagements or anything like that. One stop shop. You can go
Mm.
right there and get everything that you want to know. And email is there, and all that you need, everything you need. I made it easy. I put it all in one place.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Do you have any last thoughts? I know we talked a lot. We started out with when life speaks, you speak life. And you've said so many wonderful things, and my soul has been blessed. But in the last 2 minutes, is there anything additional or lasting thoughts that you want to share with our audience on tonight?
I think the last thing that I would like to say and to leave with everybody is, don't be afraid to be who God's called you to be. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. He knew exactly what he was doing when he put you in the earth. He knew exactly what he wanted you to do. He knew exactly what you would need in order to get it done. Don't be afraid, and enjoy the journey. Enjoy.
Mm. Wow, don't be afraid. Enjoy the journey. I put your website in the chat so people have that. Music says you're speaking the truth. Um, People are just excited that they have had an opportunity to hear what it is that you have shared with us. And you've said so much. I mean, literally, when I think about you, I think about someone who's optimistically living their best life. And when you begin to share with me about your story, your age, where you're from, what you do, and I said to you, do you remember what I said to you? I want to be like you when I grow up. On so many levels, your beauty that shines from the inside out, but your external beauty as well. And I'm just honored to know you, woman of God. And I thank you. And I thank the audience members for jumping in. Uh, Nakieta says, yes, Lord, hallelujah. Okay. So they feel the same way that I feel, but thank you for taking time to speak to us tonight. When
Thank
life
you.
speaks, you speak life. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. And I still got questions. We're going to bring you on for part two. Is that okay?
That is perfectly fine. I am honored to have been able to be with you and your audience tonight, Dr. Tammie. You already know how I feel about you. You already know. So I thank you. And I want everybody to just enjoy the blessings of the Lord. You can. You have the power to change your world. You really do. You really do.
Well, you heard it from the very best, Dr. Andrea L Hines. You have the power, you have the authority, you get to decide to change. And Yvette from DMV says, Dr. Andrea, for sharing, thank you so much. Your knowledge, very informative, excellent content. And same with Coach Rich says, excellent show. Thank you so much for joining us. You have
Thank
had
you. Thank you.
wonderful show tonight with the one and only Dr. Andrea L Hines. We call it Mindset to Millions. I'll see you next week, same time, 8 p.m. God bless and make it a great night.
Awesome.